Hope you all well. We are starting Sanhedrin. Tisha B'Av, we're learning about Sanhedrin, which I should say, hold on. This and Binyan Masha Binyan State made, and I shall also have an aliyah. First, then if you sabra aliyah, Racha Racha Abu Misha the first Shar Choli Yisrael. Okay. Sanhedrin. Sanhedrin is all about the court system. We just spent 30 pruk in Bava Kamaba Masiba Basra learning about all the halachas that referred really to Dine Mamonis. And how is that enforced? Well, that's enforced by using the court system. Courts of three, courts of courts of Okay, we're back. As we see it, we're going to start saying a tefillah that we should not be interrupted by any tech issues during this year. Every now and then, Zoom has a tendency of shutting off in the middle of what I'm talking and interrupts the flow of the Torah. So, for the learning. So we say a tefillah that we have no tech issues during this year and everything goes smoothly. No other issues also. Okay, so anyways, there are three levels of courts which we're going to get into in Mishnah Aleph. We're going to start to get into Mishnah Aleph. But basically, there was a court of three, and there was a court of 23, and there was a court of 71. The, the court of 71 was the Great Sanhedrin, was located in the Lishkas Hagazis, which is in the base of Mikdash. Then the court of 23, there were courts of 23 in other areas around the country, but there was a court of 23 that was also in the base of Mikdash. That was actually the courts of three were scattered around the country. And I find it very apropos that we're starting to learn about Sanhedrin, which is in the Beis Hamikdash on Rosh Chodesh Av, which is the time that we're being able on the Beis Hamikdash, and we're going to be learning Sanhedrin pretty much throughout the whole 9 days and a few days afterwards. It's 11 prakim, and I think it's very apropos this time of year. Maybe a schus learning other Sanhedrin be a schus that we be zoch to see the Sanhedrin in action live in the Beis Hamikdash very, very soon. Okay, here we go. Sanhedrin Monetary cases, specifically disputes about loans, which we discussed in Bava Kama, Bava Metzia, Bava Basra, are judged by a court of three. Gezelos or chavalos b'shlosha, cases of theft and injury are also judged by a court of three. Nezek v'chatzi nezek, tashlumi keva, tashlumi arba v'chamisha b'shlosha. Claims for full damages, half damages, double payments, and fourfold and five payments are judged by a court of three. Basically, all the stuff that we spoke about since we started this Seder, a lot of them, the court of three judges. Claims against a violator, a seducer, and a slanderer. A slanderer is a husband who falsely accuses his wife of adultery. Okay, I think we're back. Weird tech issues. Okay. I hope this is working. So so the case with slander is judged by court of 23, because it includes the possibility of capital punishment, where for which the wife be sentenced to death if she's found guilty of adultery, and that is only punishable by a minimum of 23 judges execute someone. They don't have that power. Mishnah Beis is judged by a court of three. Mishum Rabbi Shmuel Amru, and the name of Rabbi Shmuel, they said that such crimes that are punishable by Malchus are judged by a court of 23. He claims that that Malchus is a type of capital punishment, and therefore it requires 23 judges. Ibor HaChodesh B'Shlosha, adding a day onto the month. Today is Rosh Chodesh, right? We know that. So if we today, yesterday was the 29th day of Tammuz. So, if they're going to add on a 30 day of the month, right? If they were going to extend the month to 30 days, to 29, today would not have been of, but rather today would have been Lamed Tammuz, right? So that is decided by a court of three. Ibor Shana B'Shlosha, and the addition of and adding a month to the year, meaning adding on a second Adar, is also done by a court of three. Rabbi Yemeir, this is according to Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel says the decision to add a month to the year is made in three stages. They begin considering the matter with the three judges. If two of them are in favor of adding a month, the two more judges join them and they discuss it further with all five judges. If most of these are in favor of adding a month, the two more judges join them and they conclude with seven judges. Meaning that seven judges announced that it's an Ibrior. However, even though they should conclude with seven judges, if they concluded with only three, it is considered to be a valid decision, and the year will now have 13 months and 2 others. Mishnah Gimel, Smicha Zekedim Arivas Egla B'Shlosha. There we go. Okay. Smicha Gimel. Smicha Zekedim the leading of the elders, by the when it be somech korachatos, and the procedure of with three judges. Rabbi Shimon Yehuda says that they're done with five judges. Chalitza and who does not want to do yibum, he can opt out of the marriage by doing chalitza, where she has to move his shoe, and spit is where the girl is not yet an adult and he's married off without receiving a get. That's called miyun. That can all be done with 3 judges. Net the revai was the 4th year fruit, with the first 3 years were orla, and then the 4th year is called net the revai. It is similar to the halachas of Masher Sheni, it has to be brought up to Yerushalayim. And Masher Sheni, whose value is unknown, they are appraised by 3 expert judges. And consecrated items that are donated to the Great Sanhedrin must also be appraised by 3 expert judges. If someone wants to pay erechin, which is their value that's donated with movable objects, instead of paying it with money, then these objects are appraised by 3 expert judges. Yehuda says, Kohen. One of the three priests must be a Kohen, because the Torah says, because the Torah uses the word Kohen when discussing the appraisal of Erech, and therefore one has to be a Kohen. Tisha B'Av, and someone wants to pay the Erech with land, and not with money or movable objects. Wants to pay real estate. It's appraised by 9 and a Kohen. You need 10 experts, which includes at least 1 Kohen. And a person is appraised in the same way as land. Therefore, someone who donated his own market value to the Mikdash, his value is appraised by 10 experts, including at least 1 Kohen. Mishnah Dalet, capital cases, meaning cases in which a person is chayiv for the death penalty. They're judged by a court of 23. An animal that is active with a woman, and an animal that is passive with a man are judged by a court of 23. As the Perek says in Parshas Kedoshim, I believe it is, that a woman who approaches any animal for to mate with her, you shall kill the woman and the animal. The Torah, it might be animal. I think it's Kedoshim. The Torah mentions the animal together with the woman to teach that they have the same law. Just as the woman requires a court of 23 because she is subject to the penalty, so does the animal. Omar, and it says that a man who lies with an animal shall be put to death, and you shall kill the animal. Here too, by mentioning the animal together with the man, the verse teaches that since the man requires a court of 23, so does the animal. And an ox has to be stoned because he killed the person is judged by a court of 23. As it says, if an ox scores a man or a woman and the victim dies, the ox shall be stoned and its owner shall be put to death. So the Torah mentions the ox together with its owner to teach just as the death of the owner will require a court of 23, so does the death of the ox require a court of 23. If a wolf, a lion, a bear, a leopard, a hyena, or a snake killed the person, a death sentence must be passed by a court of 23. This is the death sentence of an ox that killed the first. Maybe Lezer whoever is first to kill these animals has performed a good deed because he prevents them from killing again. They do not need to be brought to the court and judged, but may kill on sight by anyone. Rabbi Akiva says, their descendants, the descendants of all these animals except the snake, which is harder to tame than the others, must be passed by a court of 23. A tribe that's accused of worshiping Avodah Zarah, was a Navi Sheker, and now the name of Hashem that he did not receive, the lowest sin that carries the death penalty. It can only be judged by a court. Non-obligatory war, except according to the judgment of the Sanhedrin of 71. If then has to be done by the Sanhedrin. We do not increase the size of the city of Yerushalayim or the Azara in the Beis Hamikdash, except according to the Kedrios, the Shvatim, Ela Al Pi Beis Echad. We do not appoint lower Sanhedrins, 23 judges for the different tribes throughout Eretz Yisrael, except according to the court of 71. They have to be the ones who appoint them. We do not designate a town as a corrupted town. A town that must be destroyed because most of its residents were following Avodah Zarah, except according to the court of 71. We do not designate a town as a corrupted town if it's on the border between Israel and the country, because destroying a town on the border makes it look easier to attack. The law may be designated as corrupted 3 towns that are near one another. This destruction of so many neighborhoods, so many neighboring towns, would also cause a large part of Eretz Yisrael to lie desolate, and that's not good either. We may designate 1 or 2 towns as corrupted, even if they are close to each other. Mr. Vav, Sanhedrin Gedolah Haisis Oshim Echad. The Great Sanhedrin consists of 71 judges, who Katana shall Esim V'Shlosh, and the lower Sanhedrin consists of 23 judges. Uminayim Legedosh Shihish Oshim Echad. From where do we learn the Great Sanhedrin consists of 71 judges? Shenamar is Felishim Ishbez Israel. As the Perek says in Baloscha, I think it's Baloscha, gather for me 70 men from the elders of Israel. The original Great Sanhedrin in the Midbar had 70 judges. Moshe Agabehen, and Moshe was on top of them. Harei Shivim Ve'echad. The staff is 71. Rabbi Yehuda says Shivim had only 70 judges because Moshe was not included. He was not included in the 70 in the count. So where do we learn that a lower Sanhedrin consists of 23 judges? as it says in the pasuk, the congregation shall judge and the congregation shall save. So this Edom Matzelis, the congregation that judges, that argues to convict the defendant, and a congregation that saves, which is to acquit him. So the word Edom, congregation, refers to 10 men, as we will see soon. Where is it derived when a congregation is at least 10 people? Until when will this evil congregation persist? Yeshua Kalev were, although they were among the spies, they were excluded from the evil congregations since they were righteous, and that leaves us with 10 out of 12. Therefore, you see that the word Ada refers to at least a group of at least 10 people. And that's, that's what we're dealing with right now on Tisha B'Av. And this is now 3,500 years later. And this is what we're learning it today. And we now have to add another 3 judges into the 23 to 23. From the implication of the pasuk, to mean that a majority of judges is not enough to convict someone. I may conclude that I do follow the majority. That is, mean that a majority is. So if that's true, why is this decided? This cannot mean that this halacha was already implied by the first part of the pasuk, convicting the defendant. Lo b'hatayah shall not be the same as your decision to api echad. Your decision to benefit can be based on only one judge. Even majority, but your decision to harm him must be based on at least 2 judges. The majority of 2 is required for a conviction. Accordingly, at least 22 judges are necessary because it must be possible that 10 judges will vote to acquit and 12 judges vote to convict, which is a congregation plus 2. Majority of 2. And based in Chicago, however, court cannot have an even number of judges. Therefore, we add 1 more judge to them, which makes total 23. As this